Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric Sell. I'm Rick Kessler. With me, as always, Sherman Goldenberg. And joining the two of us today are a couple of guys from the RV dealership market. We've got Ryan Horsey with Parkview RV Center in Smyrna, Delaware. And we have Phil Ingrassia from the RV Dealers Association. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Ryan being the new chair as of November, correct?
That is correct, sir.
And Phil, you've been in the saddle for how long at RVD?
This will be my 12th year as president of RVDA.
Wow.
Time flies.
And a former TV guy in Minneapolis, something like that.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
That's what I
Grew up
said.
in Minneapolis, but,
Yeah,
I,
okay.
but I worked in Sioux Falls for a few years.
All right. So we're here in to talk about what's new on the dealer front from the RVDA perspective. And let me just turn that your way. What is new? We've got a list of questions, but what would you like America, the industry, to know about?
Well, Ryan comes from, a family dealership. Certainly that's been the backbone of RVDA for many, many years. But RVDA represents all dealers, and we got a lot of different business models out there right now. And I do think that one thing, and Ryan may want to talk a little bit about this, is, while sales have been a little softer than they have been, during the pandemic time, certainly all those millions of new buyers that we brought in during that time are now showing up at dealerships. And, the fixed operations side of the house is very, very important. And, you never want to say it's more important than ever, but that might be the case right now. And Ryan's got, a lot of background in the fixed ops side of the house.
Ryan, why don't you pick it up from there?
Yeah. So I always go back to a conversation Nathan Hart and I had a few years ago during the time of COVID, when we were in doubt of what the end of that year was going to look like. It was, how are we going to go ahead and survive? Now it's become, how do we go ahead and deliver the vehicles? How do we go ahead and service our customers? And how do we go ahead and still go ahead and have something so measurable that customers still would like to go ahead and stay inside the RV industry? And one of the biggest things that we continue to go ahead and see at our service center is the many phone calls that still continue to come in as far as wanting to go ahead and have both a combination of warranty work and customer pay work completed. And it's nice because where we try to go ahead and take a stance with it is proactive service, meaning on the maintenance side of things. How do we go ahead and prevent a vehicle being inside our service drive rather than inside? We'd rather it be inside their driveways than rather than inside our service drive, I should say. But so much that we see right now is it's a blessing, because while some of our sales numbers may be down, we see so many phone calls catapulting forward that just allow us to go ahead and say, okay, great, people are still in the RV industry. Here's our barometer. We can start to see our seasonal cycle kicking up with the phone calls coming in, the emails coming in, the text messaging, and allow us to go ahead and deal with that. But the biggest thing that we still, we're trying to make sure that we have the training in place to make sure that we're exceeding our customers' expectations, because the customer that we know now, they're very well informed of what's going on with their vehicle. They have higher expectations because, as some of our social media trends go ahead and teach us as far as instant gratification, we want to go ahead and make sure things are happening quicker. So we're trying to go ahead and get the vehicles in and out. And that's where REC really comes into play for us with the repair event cycle time. It allows us to monitor that effect to go ahead and get the vehicle back into our customers' possession sooner rather than later compared to previous years.
But what about that market? We're referring to where nobody claims that it's breaking positive records here, but what does it look like for RVDA's dealerships right now?
Well, based on some of the dealer surveys that we've been doing and continue to do, the inventory levels are in much better spot than they were this time last year. Dealers did a good job of clearing out the inventory. So what does that mean? Well, that means they're gonna have to, restock the shelves a little bit. So the prognostication coming out of RVIA on production is slightly higher for next year. Retail's a little tougher to gauge, and we get these anecdotal reports from shows. Some shows are good, some shows are not so good, some shows are kind of what people were expecting. So for this first quarter and the show activity, I think it's been healthy. I think, as Ryan said, there's a lot of interest, and dealers' phones are ringing off the hook for service and warranty work. But it's a tougher market with interest rates where they're at. And hopefully we see the Fed ease that up a little bit. I think dealers have done a very good job of working on trying to get those customers financed and get them in a payment situation that they're comfortable with. And of course, the manufacturers have taken an aggressive stance on trying to lower their prices through various strategies. I know people don't like the word decontenting, but doing things that are going to bring that price to a certain price point that people are more comfortable with in a higher interest rate environment.
Ryan,
Go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just curious, you mentioned that the COVID buyers and seeing some activity, some traffic anyways, coming through the store. Are the people coming into your dealership and that you're seeing at your shows, are they the COVID buyers looking to get something different, or are they new customers? What kind of buyer are you seeing?
I wouldn't label it as a COVID buyer anymore. I think we all want to kind of just push that back to the wayside.
We
for
always,
sure.
yeah.
What I do see is things that are in alignment with our industry numbers, as far as the average buyer being in the lower 30s now. We're seeing more and more families still wanting to go RVing. When we were able to be kind of by ourselves, our family, for instance, we were able to go ahead and enjoy more outdoor activities. We were able to go ahead and cut loose away from the normal daily regimen that we had Monday through Friday. Where my wife and I were able to load our 3 kids up in an RV, go camping, make some memories. And that, to me, is more important than anything else. And we share that same paradigm with our customers. So when we go ahead and see our customers coming in, you share those same instances of what you can go ahead and do with the RVs. Sure. You can go anywhere you want. You can make your own memories. You can do that within our own state borders, and really go ahead and make a difference in not only our children's lives, but in our own lives. And what's even different than that is where years ago it used to be one of those things we would do rally campouts, where we would have multiple customers coming in and spend time with that. But what we've seen now is more independent campouts, meaning more family-oriented campouts, where they want to go ahead and vacation on the road. And it's so it's so positive to go ahead and see that. We just had an instance. The gentleman didn't go ahead and purchase an RV from us. He bought one pre-owned from a private owner. And as he went in, he brought his kids in. They were going through the parts store. They were getting so excited about everything. And if you've ever been inside my office with the activities that my sons and I do, we go ahead and scuba dive for megalodon teeth and shark teeth like that over in Venice. And inside the aquariums that we have throughout the dealership, they found some of the megalodon teeth that we've acquired. So it just came into this big event and story about, they want to go ahead and get certified for diving now. Now they want to go camping with us. And it's just so neat to see the commonality, because as some of us we're in the RV business, we're in a relationship business. And that's the most important thing. if we want to go ahead and keep our customers in the industry, we have to go ahead and share those life experiences of how we can go ahead and facilitate that. And I think sometimes we go ahead and say, you know what, customers coming into the service drive, let's go ahead and check them in, get them out. Well, it's so much more than that to us. It's about how do we go ahead and enlighten that experience for them. And that to me is more important than anything else. So to answer your question,
Mhm.
it's more than a COVID buyer. It's more of, it's an experienced buyer now
Okay,
that
very
just
good.
happens to be in the outdoor industry.
By the way, if Ryan Horsey, if the name sounds familiar, that's because his father, Rick Horsey, was previously a RVDA chairman. And Ryan, it's you, your dad, and your sister Amy are co-owners of Parkview RV Center. But it's a, speaking of family, it's still very much a family affair out there.
Yeah. So Parkview was started by my grandparents in '68, Robert and Lucille Horsey. And they just bred a family value system within inside a business that happens to be in the RV business that really wants to go ahead and make sure that we're taking care of our customers. Today, our family business is owned by myself, my sister Amy, and my father Rick. And in doing so, my brother-in-law Mike West, he takes care of he's the vice president of sales and marketing. My wife Joy Horsey, she takes care of the accounting, networking, human resources. My son Riley and Ramsey helped me out this past Saturday, clearing the lot with all the snow that we got, which is a very bad word for me. And then my niece, Paige, she answers the phones on Saturdays. And my daughter, Samantha, who is 11 years old, going on 24, takes a look at all of our parts shelves to let us know what parts we have missing off the shelf. So God bless her. So,
Before we go any further, I wanted to stop everything for just a moment. Phil, before we got on, you were telling me about a couple key pieces of legislation that the industry, if they don't already, probably ought to know about. Could you give us a capsule on that?
Sure. Well, one of the things that happened right at the end of 2023 is the FTC exempted RV dealers from a very, very onerous rule. It's called the CARS rule, or the Combating Auto Retailers Scam rule. CARS is the acronym, and it would have required a bunch of really very onerous disclosures and pricing things and marketing restrictions on RV dealers. They did leave car dealers in the final rule, and right now the National Auto Dealers Association is suing in Texas to stop implementation of this rule. Had RV dealers not been expressly exempt, which RVDA asked the FTC to do because of all the vagaries of buying an RV. I mean, if somebody doesn't have a hitch, that's added to the price. If somebody wants leveling systems, I mean, it's just not the same as buying a Toyota RAV4 or some kind of vehicle that's pretty much stock. But anyway, we dodged a bullet there. Dealers still need to be very transparent in how they're conducting their business. But this was just overkill, and we're pleased to be, out of that particular regulation right now. And we're also working to get larger dealers full deductibility for towable RVs. Right now, there's a limitation on how much floor plan interest can be deducted from your business expenses. And there's a bill in Congress right now. It was introduced by Senator Yackham, or Congressman Yackham from the Elkhart area, to restore full deductibility for that floor plan interest. And we're going to be talking with dealers directly about this, to contact their representatives in Congress to get this fixed, because motorhome interest is fully deductible. But it's just, there's this limitation on towables that was put in place, and we need to get that fixed. So that's another high advocacy priority on our list.
Rick, we got to ask him before we slide out of here. We got to ask him about the market. what they see in a year ahead. It's the question on everybody's mind. But is that cool with you, Rick, or did you want to go somewhere else first?
Sounds good.
All right, both of you, gentlemen, what's crystal ball here?
Well, it's pretty cloudy, you know, I do think, that, between the manufacturers, working on the pricing situation, the lenders are working with the dealers, and the dealers are, re-energized in the sales department. It's looking right now like kind of a flat year for retail. Production might be up. But I know that dealers are gonna work very, very hard in their personal market to make sure it isn't a flat year, or try to do the best they can. But there are some larger issues out there on the sales side that, interest rates probably being, the number one thing I hear about, that are out there that, there needs to be, some movement there, before we're back on an uptick level. But I know dealers are gonna be working hard in their market, and the manufacturers are working hard too, to move the needle forward.
Mhm.
Ryan, I mean, what's your thought?
I think as far as numbers wise, I think it's going to be very similar to how it was last year with, but I'm also optimistic about a little bit of growth. I always go back to a good friend of ours, Jan Kelly, who was in the RV industry. I'm sure, Sherm, you know who Jan is. She was always, she always had a lot of different one-liners. And she says, sales right now, it reminds me of how sales are right now, where it's almost like digging for gold. And you only found the gold in the mining days when you were hip deep, and you're sitting there trying to go ahead and just go about the river rock, and you're just trying to go ahead and dig down deep and just try to go ahead and bring it out. But to me, the way I look at it right now is there's going to be lines of salesmanship that's going to go ahead and give distinct advantages to different rooftops. Some of those rooftops are going to be very service oriented. Some of them are going to be sales oriented. And I think it's going to be with where we're at with rec reporting, it's those who are keyed in to the full RV experience side of things. I think they're going to have a distinct advantage. Those who have certified associates in the fixed operation side of things, whether it's through RVTI with their technicians, or it's through the service administration with the service managers, the service advisors, the parts managers, and the specialist programs. Those folks, to me, they understand what it takes to make you unique compared to other stores. And I think it's going to really be an eye-opening experience for the next year and a half, 2 years, as we go ahead and settle the dust with adjusting our inventory levels, and also making sure that as we near the presidential election, things are able to go ahead and have a better par.
Presidential election, I was unaware that there was one in the works.
No, not at all. Looking at your backdrop, it doesn't look like it.
Well, listen, we should let him off the hook, Sherm.
Yep, especially before we get into the politics. Yeah, thank you guys very much.
Well, thank you, Sherm. Thanks, Rick. It's good to get together and chat about some of these things from time to time, and we appreciate it.
Okay, with that, well, thank you again for your time, and also want to thank RVB, of course, for their continued sponsorship. And we will see you on the next episode of RV Business Capital Talk.